Good afternoon. I'm Karen Holmes Ward. Welcome to Cityline. It's been a traffic nightmare for commuters traveling in and out of Boston, to and from points north of the city. The Sumner Tunnel is shut down for the rest of the summer for needed repairs. But the impact of the work is frustrating commuters and creating challenges for East Boston's business, community, and beyond. Joining us now to talk about what that means for Eastie's local businesses is Miguel Vargas. He's the Executive Director of East Boston Main Streets, and State Senator Lydia Edwards from the 3rd Suffolk District. Welcome to you both.
Thank you for having me.
So Miguel, how's it going? What have businesses been saying about the number of customers coming and going in and out?
Well, it's been a nightmare, like you say. They're being a little bit worried about what's going to happen in the next few weeks. We just started, and there's a lot of confusion. A lot of people are getting too worried because there is a lot of people who are not coming into the Boston to help all the small businesses. But also the traffic is a nightmare everywhere in East Boston.
Now, do you think that Mass DOT and the city leaders adequately did something to protect the community under these tough conditions? Could more be done to mitigate some of the impact? Miguel?
I think more needs to be done. I think they were given a lot of information, and we were trying to give information in English and in Spanish to support all the different businesses in the area. But I think the city should be helping out every single businesses to support them and helping out to guide what is ahead and how is this going to happen more productive.
So language barrier appears to be a problem in this situation, Miguel. Is that what you're saying? Miguel?
Correct.
Yes.
Correct. We pass some information on Spanish and also in English and also in Creole and French and Chinese. But still, there's a lot of information that needs to pass to small businesses.
Okay, Lydia, let me turn to you. The Blue Line is free until August 31st, and you've encouraged everybody to ditch the drive. Has that worked?
It's working for a lot of people who I think were naturally going to probably be on commuter rail or be on commuting via public transportation. I think it's slowly starting to pick up. We're trying desperately to remind people that this is a viable, great option for them, where we've increased the frequency of the Blue Line. It's running at 6-minute headways. And so between that and having a free ferry between East Boston and the North End, and of course we've increased the frequency and stops on the Winthrop Ferry and reduced the price, I do think it's working for people who have immediate access to those forms of transportation. It's really getting the 2 or 3 stops away from the commuter rail person who would normally just drive in, getting them to drive and then park and then take something to get to the public transportation. I think we still need some, we need to do a little bit more outreach and help.
What about some of the language barrier issues that Miguel just mentioned? What can be done to fix that?
Well, I think not only having the signs in more than one language, I am multilingual as well as Miguel. It's really incumbent upon us as elected officials getting out there in more than one language. We have put it in many newspapers, ethnic newspapers that are Spanish, Haitian, Creole, and also getting out to the Arabic community as well. It's really meeting people where they are. So many of the fairs that we had, where there were large gatherings of folks, whether it was an Italian festival or a Moroccan festival, there was flyers for months in advance in Moroccan or in Spanish or in Italian, whatever language, to make sure that people knew that the tunnel was going to be closed.
All right,
and
Miguel.
We need to do that.
Okay, Miguel, back to you. Summer is a time when many people travel to East Boston's waterfront. What are the biggest concerns you have for businesses?
Well, businesses are very negative about it because some people are not coming in because they're either afraid to drive or afraid to use the water taxi. We're trying to push that, and we're trying to, get the information to everybody, and also to have people from the other side of Boston come visit East Boston, support our businesses. It's only 3 minutes away or 7 minutes away from the seaport, and it's a very easy commute, especially if it's nice outside. So, we invite everybody to come into East Boston and support our small businesses. But yes, we're trying to promote that transportation so it will be easier for everybody to just
And Lydia,
navigate East Boston.
Lydia, you know, it's not just the businesses. You have constituents who are part of the gig economy, delivery drivers, rideshare drivers, all have expressed concerns about their livelihood. And, you know, we're just wrapping up week 2 of the shutdown.
Yeah, look, let's be honest, we knew that this was going to be a pain point for many people. And I don't believe that week 4, 5, and 6 are going to be as difficult as week 1 and 2, because there are things we're still learning as we're learning them. And that is frustrating. And this is again for for 2 months this year, it'll be for another 2 months next year. And I think the next year's 2 months will even be better than this one. But yes, this is a frustrating moment, but what we've encouraged people to do consistently is to be to log the complaints, log the concerns. This can be a real learning point for all of us, for Mass DOT, for the governor, for myself, for all of the local safety officials, the first responders, for us to figure out how to make this even more efficient. The number one issue, along with local economies, is safety. And that's really been our focus, is how to make sure that if someone needs access to medical care, that we can make sure, without a doubt, they have the most efficient route to get to it.
Miguel, you have a big event coming up, the Taste of Eastie. How are you planning to get the usual crowd there? I don't know. Did we lose Miguel? Let me ask Lydia. How are we going to get the crowd there for the Taste of Eastie?
Taste of Eastie, yes, we are working hard to get. Well, we're working on the Taste of Eastie, which is one of the biggest events here in East Boston. This is our 27th anniversary. We are a little worried because we had a lot of folks that are coming from the other side of Boston, and we're trying to encourage everybody to use the MBTA or the water taxi into the Taste. A lot of people support our event. A lot of people come over and join us.
All right, use the T, take the water taxi. Lydia, fixing infrastructure is very important. This is, like you said, it's a safety issue. This work needs to be done. But, what are you going to say? What can you say to your constituents who are just facing a crazy summer and who don't have a choice?
Listen, what I've said consistently is, again, this not only is a safety issue, it's hopefully just the one time, let's get this over with. It's going to be painful for a finite amount of time. And then for those who are, whose local economies or small businesses, not only, this is the time to really shop local and support those folks and your neighbors and to help each other out. It's the time to reach out to each other, not turn on each other in our frustration. We have consistently been showing in East Boston and the communities I represent, Revere and Winthrop, we stick up for each other, from Mutual Aid Eastie, from the soup kitchens that we've started, to all sorts of ways in which we continually come together to get through difficult times, COVID being one of them. This is a difficult time. We will get through it. Our economies will be stronger, and we can do this.
And we will come out the other side. All right, Mikhail Vargas and State Senator Lydia Edwards, thanks for joining us.